It's over 9,000!
Super Elite Warriors to Final Forum, a podcast for the discussion of all things Dragon Ball. I am your host, Jelli, an elite recruiting member of the Frieza Force on a mission to find the best warriors from across the galaxy to join the greatest army of all time, and I am joined as always by my new recruit co-host.
This is the Bekinney. Join us as we uncover the cultural inspirations and hidden history behind Akira Toriyama's seminal franchise.
And we're on a bearing towards... Hey, what are we on a bearing towards anyways?
We're heading towards this star that, for whatever reason, you're calling Wriggle Kentaurus?
Hey, I have a damn good reason.
Really? Because not that long ago you insisted on calling every star by a simple coordinate name, but now you're making up names willy-nilly.
I already told you I have a good reason for the name.
Which is?
Which is something I have no time to explain, because look!
Oh, the blips!
Yes, the blips on our long-range scouter are coming back into range, still quite far away, but near enough that we've picked them back up on our equipment.
Should I go to manual and stay on their tails?
No, they're tracking right along our course, so we shouldn't need to.
Oh, but what if they make a turn?
Then we'll take over manual control and move with them.
But there could be time lost in switching from computer nav to manual.
I'm willing to take that risk.
Even knowing what we're chasing.
Well, we've established we don't exactly know.
And neither do our listeners.
I'm sure they've all figured it out by now.
I think you think we have more devoted fans than we actually do.
Oh, while that may be, those who know, and those who don't should be raptly hanging on in suspenseful anticipation as they know we are chasing something but don't know what. Isn't that what entertainment in the 2020s is all about?
What? Teasing people with big reveals that are ultimately unsatisfying and forcing them into protracted worlds of continuity and universe building that lack satisfying payoffs and just dilute the importance of storytelling in favor of trickery and making your crass efforts widely transparent to anyone with a brain?
Yes.
I guess you're right, actually.
I know I am.
You don't have to sound so excited about it, though.
Hey, I like my job.
Did you recently admit we're not getting paid for this?
Unpaid internships are the backbone of society.
This feels like it's threatening to become a screed about capitalism.
In that case, we better pivot.
You're willing to troll our audience, but not capitalists.
I've been paying attention. And listeners should pay attention to us as we delve into this week's topic. And briefly, we'll do our CTAs here, as we're going to maybe start doing, if I remember, from now on.
I have all the hope.
I have all the doubts that I will actually remember to do this. But make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Especially the rate and review piece. Takes a few seconds to go into your podcast app, whichever one you're using, throw a star rating, and throw a little blurb that says, I like this, guys, or these guys are dumb.
You know what? At this point, I'd probably be even willing to take negative feedback.
And all the feedback just helps. It helps the algorithm to think that we're cool, and we gotta outsmart these
mental
AIs.
Health to know that people are listening.
We gotta outsmart these AIs in any way that we can, right? So,
agreed.
So join us in the fight against the scourge of generative AI and rate and review. as we get into episodes, what is it this week? 51 through 55?
Yes, that is indeed correct.
I got it.
So we're going to start with episode 51, which is titled Vegeta Has a Ball. So Vegeta really seems to be enjoying his little hostage situation with the Namekians and what have you. Anyways, at base camp, we start to learn a bit more about Namek's history and culture through Dende, who's the little Namekian boy that they saved. Namekians don't eat food. They only need to drink water to survive. And it turns out their farming is actually an ecological recovery effort. They're basically a planet full of hippies. And now, thanks to Vegeta, another village full of hippies are dead. Gohan and Krillin can sense each life being snuffed out. This is super dark. Vegeta finally gets his hands on a Dragon Ball, then hides it in the neighboring pond, thinking that if he's the only one who knows where it is, then it should be safe. Frieza likewise employs some game theory of his own to determine his course of action. Sends Zarbon in search of the remaining Dragon Balls while waiting for Vegeta to try and steal his. Meanwhile, Bulma has somehow never been introduced to the idea of asexual reproduction. Dende informs our heroes about the Grand Elder who survived the disaster and brought all of the Namekians back. He's essentially like the one guy that had all of the kids that kickstarted their repopulation efforts. He has the last Dragon Ball. So it looks like they need to get there before Vegeta or Frieza do. Krillin and Dende head out while Gohan stays with Bulma. Goku gets an update from King Kai. Your friends are here to train with me. And those, obviously, the ones that passed away during the Saiyan arc are now on King Kai's planet for training. Mm-hmm. And that brings us to episode 52, The Past and the Future. Now that the peanut gallery has arrived, Goku gets everyone caught up on what's been going down. Kaiosama reveals Goku is talking about Frieza and confirms it with a quick scan of planet Namek. He tells Goku not to engage Frieza in any way at all. Still, everyone seems pretty keen on fighting him. With all the heroes on the same page, they all begin a training regimen. Goku at 30 Gs and the others by developing a sense of humor. On Namek, Vegeta picks up Krillin's trail, who is headed to meet the Great Elder with Dende. Vegeta catches up to Krillin, but not before they manage to hide. But once again, Vegeta gets sidetracked by a better target, Zarbon. Goku kicks up his training to 50 Gs, and the Peanut Gallery move on to the next phase of King Kai's training, catching bubbles. Piccolo passes almost immediately, and when King Kai points out that he never passed the joke test, Piccolo inadvertently makes a joke and retroactively passes the first task as well. Switching back to Vegeta, he's caught up now to Zarbon and challenges him to a fight. The fight seems to be going Vegeta's way, but why is Zarbon laughing? And that brings us to episode 53, Zarbon's surprise. Oh, that's why he's laughing. It would appear that Zarbon's Bishi exterior conceals a Mr. Hyde-esque bulky other half. Along with the updated look is a sizable boost in power. Zarbon immediately starts wiping the floor with Vegeta. Meanwhile, Krillin is still flying with Dende, and Dende reveals that Namekians are actually the Trisolarans from the three-body problem, meaning they have 3 sons. Zarbon has proven to be much stronger than anticipated. On King Kai's planet, the Peanut Gallery still hasn't caught Bubbles and have graduated to attempted murder in their tactics, using the giant mallet to try and crush him. Back on Namek, Vegeta is still getting his butt kicked. This results in him taking a nap in the bottom of a newly formed lake. A lake formed from the crater that Zarbon made with Vegeta's body. Around this time, Krillin and Dende arrive at the Elder's home, where they are greeted by Nail, the Elder's hetero life mate. It turns out the Elder isn't much longer for this world. Good thing they got there when they did. Krillin's introduced to the Elder and a Dragon Ball, while Vegeta grabs a quick snack of waterfowl. Turns out he's actually still alive. It brings us to episode 54, titled Guru's Gift. The Great Elder and Krillin exchange Dragon Ball lore. Elder reads Krillin's mind to kind of get like a quick Piccolo lore dump, and decides to give him the Dragon Ball as well. He warns Krillin that he's only sticking around for a few more days, and after that the Dragon Balls will go inert, similar to the Dragon Balls on Earth. Krillin agrees to guard the Dragon Ball anyway, as it's better than letting Frieza or Vegeta gain immortality. As thanks, the Elder awakens Krillin's dormant power. Using some quick thinking, Krillin asks if he can send Gohan to have his potential awoken as well. Great Elder agrees, and Krillin heads back to HQ. Elsewhere, one of Frieza's soldiers finds the village Vegeta attacked. The soldier kills his only lead, which I thought this when it happened the first time I ever saw it, which makes the later scene pay off so much. The soldier kills his only lead and heads back to report to Frieza. Speaking of reports, Zarbon is currently informing Frieza that Vegeta is toast, despite having, no proof, no body, anything like that. Then this mook shows up, delivers his bad news, and admits to killing his only witness. So now he's toast. And so fed up with the incompetence, Frieza sends for the Ginyu Force. He tells Zarbon to retrieve Vegeta and bring him back. Goku just needs some rest, but Vegeta's in luck. Zarbon just arrived, and he's bringing him in. At HQ, Bulma is keeping an eye on the Dragon Radar, which shows Krillin is on his way back. However, they also find a lone ball in the direction they knew Vegeta was earlier. Gohan takes the radar and flies off to pull a fast one on old Vegeta, who's currently in Medbay on Frieza's ship. That brings us to our last episode this week, episode 55, Piccolo versus Everyone. First, we get some training progress for Goku and the Dead Z Warriors. Catching bubbles is going about as well as you expect, which is not great. Piccolo is petitioning the process as he wants to move on to actual martial arts, but King Kai gives him a firm no. After a quick lunch break, Yamcha makes quick work of catching bubbles. Next up is Tien with a second quick victory, and then finally Chaozu as well. During this time, King Kai is trying to understand Piccolo a little bit better. The group eventually moves on to the Gregory portion of class. Piccolo decides it's a waste of time and wanders off, 3 feet to go train by himself. King Kai uses Piccolo's dismissive attitude to rile up the others and kind of light a fire underneath him. Back on Namek, the Vegeta sous vide is still not quite up to temp. Back on King Kai's planet, everyone has passed now the Gregory challenge. Weird that this one only took 10 seconds versus half an episode for Bubbles, but that's beside the point, I guess. The next phase of training is sparring. This piques Piccolo's interest, and King Kai decides it'll be Piccolo versus everyone else. Piccolo seems confident it'll be an easy win, but it turns out the others are a better match than he first thought. Guess King Kai's training is legit after all. Now that the point's been made, they move on to the next phase. On Namek, Vegeta's recovery takes an unexpected turn to the good, and he busts out. With some quick thinking, he baits Zarbon and Frieza into leaving Zarbon leaves the ship, but he baits Frieza to another portion of the ship. He heads to Frieza's chamber, and he finds the 5 Dragon Balls there just kind of waiting for him, and I think that's where the episode ends. I don't think he actually steals them yet.
Not yet, yeah.
Yeah, it's the next episode. Okay.
Yeah,
so that's our recap for the week.
He'll start chucking them out the windows or whatever. And then...
Which, given where they end up, that's an amazing physical feat that he can throw them out of sight, but they all land in the exact same area.
He's channeling his inner Tao Pai Pai.
I was going to say maybe his inner Yamcha, but that would probably sting too much for him.
He just doesn't ride on one.
Yeah. If he had ridden on the last one, he probably would have gotten away clean.
These episodes, I will say, a slight step down, I think. From
and you can even kind of notice it in my recaps. They're going all over the place because there's 3 or 4 different plot threads that they're simultaneously trying to keep you updated on, and it gets a little frenetic.
Yeah, and it's a little stretched out, and it's a little... This is padding the runtime for sure.
Oh, big time.
Especially all the stuff back on King Kai's planet. I mean, that stuff that Toriyama
we already know what King Kai's training regimen is. Do we really need all of the detail?
Right, exactly.
Piccolo questioning the process, I feel like there's worth in exploring that. But watching the guys play pretend baseball hitting Gregory is not really the use of runtime that I would like.
Right. Yeah. But overall, there's a lot of good as well. I mean, the fight against Zarbon's great.
Yeah.
Again, this is that Toriyama does such a good job of constantly raising the bar on what's powerful and power level. Vegeta was so strong. Vegeta was stronger than Goku. Really?
Yeah.
It was only multiple people. And then now Zarbon, once he transforms, handles him, and we're told Zarbon ain't nothing compared to Frieza. So
yeah, exactly. Zarbon's nothing compared to the Ginyu Force.
Right. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about Zarbon and Dodoria, and yes, one of these characters is already dead. Whoops. But we do the best we can here. So
I feel like it fits better here, anyways, because like to me, in my mind, they're kind of like a set.
Yeah,
like I don't see much value in breaking the two of them apart.
Because they are Frieza's right-hand men at the start of this saga, and they provide our new goalposts for the level of strength we're talking about with our opponents. Vegeta states he's stronger than he was before arriving on Earth, and he actually basically says, before I got to Earth, Dodoria, you would have beaten me, but now I'm stronger. And he takes out Dodoria relatively easily.
Yeah.
And so that gives us like a really good goalpost right there of, hey, this person is stronger than Vegeta was when he fought Goku.
And we didn't really touch on him much, but Kui, I think, was also either on par or slightly stronger than Vegeta before he went to Earth.
Yeah, I think
which is kind of just reinforcing that, where he's like, Kui was kind of like where he was at, and Dodoria was somebody who was stronger than him. Now we see, okay, not only has he progressed to be stronger than he was, but he's much stronger than he used to be.
Right. And yes, he fails against Zarbon, and it said Frieza's stronger than both of them, and Goku and everyone knows that Vegeta is currently not only the strongest foe they've faced, but stronger than all of them, only having been beaten by a combined effort of a lot of people. It's enough to wound Vegeta's pride and enough to have killed him if they had chosen, but in a one-on-one, Vegeta was the strongest known character in all of Dragon Ball at this point.
Hands down, yeah.
And Zarbon knocks him into a coma in a few seconds.
Yeah.
But we'll start with Dodoria.
Ah, yes, Dodoria. His name is a pun on the Japanese word for the fruit durian, which, thanks to filler, is not the first time we've talked about durian. In our Crane Hermit episode, we made note of the hospital on Papaya Island, which was Durian Hospital. It's a fruit that it's considered the smelliest fruit on Earth. Would smell is probably anything on Earth, really. And is even banned from being eaten in certain public spaces due to its smell. But it's said to have a sweet, custardy flavor. It's a spiky, yellow-brown fruit. Not exactly the same as a pineapple, but like something similar, I think. Like the texture on the outside, am I right?
Have you ever seen one of those orange horned melons?
I have not.
Okay. I think it might also be similar. Hang on, let me see real quick. Is it similar on the outside to a jackfruit?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm way off then. I might never mind what I said. Don't worry.
Yes, its exterior is similar in appearance to a jackfruit.
Okay. There you go, folks. That's the correct reference. So it's a spiky, yellow-brown fruit, and if you look at Dodoria, he's spiky, but he's pink. Interestingly, his first appearance in color was in a color page that had a limited palette, which did not include any shades of yellow at all. In the same chapter, Bulma's yellow jacket that she's seen wearing throughout this arc is the same shade of pink as Dodoria. So Toriyama even drew Dodoria yellow on the back cover of one of his Kanzenban for the DBZ manga. And real quick, a Kanzenban is a re-release of a manga that comes out after the manga was finished and is generally like bigger, reproduces chapter covers. It includes color pages, may include like little side stories. It's the quote-unquote perfect edition of the manga. It's sort of like the omnibus version. If the Tankoban are the TPBs, and the Kanzenban or the omnibus, that's kind of your comparison there.
Yeah.
So anyway, Toriyama colors Dodoria yellow on the back cover of that, despite him being pink in other bits of media. And note that not all of the Kanzenban rear illustrations are color. Many are black and white, so choosing yellow was a deliberate choice for Toriyama. But Dodoria is pink in every other appearance ever. So what happened? Well, it's possible that Toriyama intended Dodoria to be yellow like his fruit counterpart, but saw the pink and just liked it and decided to roll with that, but wanted to present him yellow once to sort of showcase the original concept. Nobody will ever really know, and I'm sure Toriyama would never have been able to provide an answer knowing how he typically answered those types of questions. But Dodoria's also kind of fairly androgynous in design. Enough so that in certain dubs, namely the Hungarian and the Greek ones, Dodoria is stated to be female. However, we think we might have an idea of Dodoria's real-life design influence, maybe, possibly. So maybe it's a stretch, maybe not. But Dodoria is a large. He's a large fella physically, but not just in size and weight, but also in stature. Dragon Ball character heights can be a bit inconsistent, but Dodoria is taller than Frieza, and he towers over Vegeta. So he's pretty tall. Also, note that he's got like these fat folds on his head. This is kind of where we struck upon the possible inspiration for Dodoria, and for that, we have to return once again to the world of wrestling.
And the other thing that kind of had me thinking wrestling is that arm bar that Vegeta puts him in.
Vegeta puts him in? Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of like a hammerlock. It's not exactly a hammerlock. It tends to be, in real wrestling, a hammerlock tends to be like, well, in real wrestling, a hammerlock is you pin a guy to the ground and bend their arm up behind their back. In WWE wrestling, a hammerlock is like a rest hold where you pretend to like twist a dude's arm behind his back as he's like standing and he's like, oh, wow, wow, wow. And now this is more of a double hammerlock in that way. It's not exactly got a super analog to anything, but it's an arm bar type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I looked at that and I was like, I wonder if Dodoria looks like any fat wrestlers. And what I found was King Kong Bundy. Born Christopher Pallies on November 7th, 1955. He was a heel character who appeared in WWF, having various feuds against top faces, including Hulk Hogan. He headlined the inaugural Survivor Series event and was the heaviest NWA heavyweight champion in history. How heavy? Bundy was billed as 6'4", 458 pounds.
That's a big boy.
That's a big man, yes. And he had the fat folds and just a similarly like angry looking face. It kind of struck me. I felt like it feels kind of right. Bundy began his career in 1981 training under Pretty Boy Larry Sharpe before relocating to Texas and training with the Von Erich family. Fans of wrestling know the Von Erich family name very well, and fans of movies should be familiar with them, as they're the basis for the 2023 film The Iron Claw. Awesome movie, by the way. The Von Erichs are one of the cautionary tales of wrestling, with Father Fritz essentially forcing, via emotional abuse, all of his children into wrestling, leading to 5 of his 6 children predeceasing him, 3 of them via suicide. It is a tragic family story, and it's a hell of a movie. That also is actually less tragic than the real life story.
That's not usually what happens.
Yes, they like toned it down because they were like, we can't do all this. People won't believe it.
That's wild.
Bundy was one of the classic monster heels of his time, often teaming with Rick Rude and Jim Neidhart against Jerry Lawler. And in WWF, he was often either paired with or facing off against Andre the Giant or Big John Studd in Monster Brawls. Bundy's biggest run at the top came from 1986 through 1987, where he headlined WrestleMania 2 alongside Hulk Hogan in a steel cage match and won the main event of the first ever Survivor Series. Now, Survivor Series, for those not in the know, is typically heavily features a set of 5-on-5 tag team matches where you win by pinning every member of the opposition, eliminating them one at a time, as opposed to a typical tag match where the first team to be pinned loses, and that's it. Towards the end of his time in WWF, Bundy often found himself doing the job to Bam Bigelow, which means losing in order to make the newer guy look better. After wrestling, Bundy appeared on the show Married with Children a couple times, as the creators had named their fictional family Bundy in homage to him. I thought that was a neat fact.
That's pretty cool.
He appeared in 2 different roles on Married with Children. First as Peg's brother, Uncle Irwin, in 1987, and then again as himself as King Kong Bundy in 1995, teaching Bud how to wrestle. In 2016, Pally's joined a class action lawsuit against WWE, alleging that wrestlers incurred long-term neurological injuries with insufficient care over the years working for them, during which the company routinely and fraudulently misrepresented the nature and extent of those injuries. It's believed that his participation in this lawsuit is what soured the relationship between he and WWE, such that Bundy has yet to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Pally's passed away in 2019 due to complications from diabetes at the age of 63. He was a tad before my time, but I do remember him, and it's interesting that he was used to put Bam Bigelow over, because if you ask me, Dodoria also looks a little bit like Bigelow. I don't want to get too far down like a Bam Bigelow backstory either, but also a heartbreaking story.
Seems to be a lot of that around wrestling.
No. Knowing Toriyama used Andre the Giant as inspiration in the past, as well as Dick the Destroyer Bear, and in the future we'll see references to this era of wrestling, and even perhaps Nappa's mustache may have been inspired by Hulkamania. You can go check out our Nappa episode, see the Final Forum.
That's
podcast-matic universe grows. It just doesn't feel like that big of a stretch to think that Dodoria's design was influenced by a popular wrestler from the time when Toriyama was watching wrestling. It's also possible that Dodoria is modeled after Sylvester Ritter, aka Junkyard Dog, who was also a wrestler around that same time. He's more of a mid-card wrestler, not to take away from his legacy, but I don't want to get too far down the path of yet another wrestler, aside from pointing it out and saying to keep an eye on our socials, where I'll make sure to post pictures of Bundy, Bigelow, and Junkyard Dog along with Dodoria, and let people decide which one they see the most in there. I'd encourage you to look into all three wrestlers, though, and the Von Erich family, because the more you learn about this stuff, the more you understand why movies like The Iron Claw and The Wrestler, that depict these darker corners of the business with an unblinking eye, cause former wrestlers to weep, because it is a sad state of affairs that befalls many of these people.
Truly.
And the reason I kind of think Junkyard Dog is I really hope that nobody takes this the wrong way, but Dodoria has certain facial features on his design, in particular his lips, that lean me in a certain way, knowing how mangaka draw characters racially.
Okay. Yeah, no, let's hope nobody takes that the wrong way.
I tried to qualify that as many ways as possible. So
yeah, I know, I get you. I'm sure folks will be on the internet will be totally generous of your interpretation of that. It's fine.
But so yeah, that's where I do think it's more King Kong Bundy than anything else. I think if you look up King Kong Bundy, it's weird how much like their bodies just kind of like that similar. I don't know. It's not pear shape. It's like you're built like a just brick house.
Yeah, because like it's kind of implied that he's like overweight or like fat, but like when you look at him in like full proportions and stuff, it's like you said, he's just like a thick, like muscular dude.
Like he's just wide.
He's just built like a power lifter, basically.
Yeah. He's often called one of the ugliest characters in all of Dragon Ball.
I mean, I could kind of see that. Me personally, I really dig Dodoria's design. It's very kind of like punk feeling, especially with the spikes on top of his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he's got like the spiked forearms, kind of like those bracers that like metalheads or like punk people wear that have like the spikes on them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like the lips and sort of like the eyeliner. Although it's probably not makeup, it's just how the character looks, but like it kind of looks like makeup in the same way that like if you were to go to like a punk show, people would be wearing like weird colors on their face and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, like the spiked gauntlet type of take on it. Yeah, like him being like a punk inspired thing, which like part of me wants to say that might also be part of it, like a punk inspired thing, but I also wonder if it predates punk being in Japan. Like, I don't know enough
that's a weird rabbit hole to think about.
about the punk movement hitting Japan.
Yeah, that might just be more my own thoughts than anything based in reality.
Like I don't know is the
Yeah.
answer, right? Like it definitely totally could be. I mean, that was because Terminator 1, which is what, 1984? And we know
he's got a similar style there.
and we know Toriyama has seen, because
It's possible.
has like a lot of like that has that whole scene set in that the place called like Tech Noir, which is like the punk venue
bar or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You learn something new every day.
So there we go. We've hit on yet another possible source of inspiration for Dodoria. Maybe that is when the punk movement was coming over to Japan, and that's because Chi-Chi's always concerned that Gohan's going to become a delinquent, so...
Well, I think delinquent stuff, as far as like Japanese culture, I think that's something that goes back further than punk. Because there's issues with, or I don't know if there is currently, but like in a lot of like the manga and anime that I've seen, there's a lot of one of the common themes is like a delinquent character or a bunch of characters who are delinquents in like a gang or something like that, and they have the kind of aesthetic. It changes a little bit over time, but like some of the earlier ones have like the pompadour hairstyle. And then like they'll be wearing their school uniform, but they'll be doing it in a way that's like outside of regulations. So like their vest will be like unbuttoned and their shirt will be untucked, and they're wearing their pants like low or a size too big or something like that.
Okay.
But it's a common thing in especially in like shonen and stuff. But yeah.
So very briefly, because the 1980s marked a significant turning point for punk rock in Japan, with bands like Anarchy and The Stalin gaining prominence. Anarchy formed in Saitama Prefecture in 1978 and rose to fame after winning an amateur musicians contest in 1979. Their controversial lyrics, which ridiculed the Japanese imperial family, sparked protests from Japanese right-wingers. So the punk movement was big in Japan in the 80s. And as punk evolved in Japan, this is like a live look into me doing research.
Yeah.
As the punk movement evolved in Japan, it gave rise to a series of subgenres, with each having its own unique characteristics and devoted following. In the 90s saw the emergence of melodic hardcore bands like High Standard and Husking Bee, noise punk and crust punk and pop punk and anarcho punk. And so, yeah, maybe like, so in the late 80s and early 90s, punk becomes this more accepted, more understood thing in Japan.
Huh.
And
we got all that just from a dude having spikes on his head and his forearms.
And potentially maybe that potentially influences Akira Toriyama as well.
Sure, why not? But enough about Dodoria. Let's move on to Zarbon.
Let's do it.
All right, so his name is similarly a good pun, this time with the pomelo fruit, which is the largest citrus fruit, also known as a shaddock. It's an ancestor of the grapefruit native to South Asia, commonly eaten during festive occasions throughout East Asia. Like the grapefruit, the pomelo can have serious drug interactions. In the case of statins used to lower cholesterol, they can cause an overdose leading to more severe side effects, and in the case of allergy medicines, they can cause drug efficacy to be blocked and just not work. In order to not be an alarmist, this can sometimes be not the worst thing. In the case of caffeine, for instance, grapefruit and pomelo juice can increase efficacy and lengthen the amount of time that the drug remains active in a person's system. Quick disclaimer, please note, Final Form is not a medical podcast. Neither host is a doctor, and we are not responsible for any drug interactions you may subject yourself to.
We might be responsible, though.
No, we are not. We are absolutely not. Not in any way. We deny that. It should be further noted that Zarbon, after which Zarbon is named, is a specific type of pomelo with a green outer skin, which sort of matches Zarbon's own. In Japan, these fruits are often used as religious offerings, borrowing from the Chinese tradition of it being a Lunar New Year fruit, where its name is similar to the word for to have, making it a symbol of prosperity. The fruit in Japan represents the city of Kochi, and Zarbon is the final villain Bulma has a crush on. Just a quick little. She likes bad boys, I guess, is what we're putting out there.
The final out and out villain, because then she doesn't get a crush on a bad boy, but
not a villain, not a man who's genocided people or entire planets, or
it's fine at that point. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine.
Fine.
Stop bringing it up.
All right. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
All right.
Maybe then maybe a little less nuts, but here's where we give over to conjecture, because that's what we do.
Sure.
One of Kochi's most famous residents is Sumi Shimamoto, a voice actress most notable for having voiced Nausicaa in the Ghibli film Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. We've mentioned the movie before, I think, and it's awesome, so watch it. If you look up Shimamoto and find a picture of her from the 80s, she has Zarbon's signature long braid. It's kind of crazy to think that Toriyama might design a male antagonist after a female voice actress that he may never have directly worked with, but there is a resemblance, and we just mentioned that the Zarbon is the fruit of the city of Kochi. Mm-hmm. That's some conspiracy theory tinfoil hat stuff.
If it's a coincidence, it's a very interesting coincidence.
Now for the slightly less crazy stuff. I think slightly less.
Okay.
Zarbon is also somewhat androgynous. In fact, Dodoria, Zarbon, and Frieza kind of become increasingly androgynous as you go along in that order.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
And Zarbon is also fairly flamboyant in his mannerisms and behavior. And if you look at that hair, flamboyancy, mannerisms, and even the ability to transform, and look at the pop cultural landscape at the time, there's an interesting parallel that pops up. A celebrity who's often depicted themselves as androgynous, who was flamboyant, who could and would transform themselves, their appearance, and even their personality as well, and at will? How about David Bowie?
Ooh.
David Bowie is one of the most influential and prolific talents of our lifetimes, having been one of the most successful artists of all time. His album sales have surpassed over 100 million worldwide, and he was often dubbed the chameleon of rock due to his continual musical and personal reinventions. As a musician, he had hits with songs like Starman, Suffragette City, Let's Dance, Space Odyssey, Hero, and Ziggy Stardust, and as an actor, he appeared in films like Labyrinth, The Last Temptation of Christ, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, and The Prestige. All good movies, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm a big Twin Peaks fan.
I never would have guessed.
Bowie had a particularly large influence on and from Japan, falling in love with the lifestyle in the 60s and leading him to incorporate Japanese culture into his music and fashion and stage performances. He took kabuki lessons and had his costumes designed by Japanese designer Kansai Yamamoto. He even considered moving to Kyoto and making it his permanent residence. He was like the first weeaboo.
Dang.
And he was actually not, but kind of was. Like, so the phrase weeaboo, for those who don't know, not to get too off on a tangent, but that's also what we do here anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
The phrase weeaboo was like coined on like 4chan in like the mid-aughts, I think. And so that phrase has obviously post-dates Bowie by a lot.
Yeah.
But Japanophilia has been around since like people learned about Japan. I mean, there's like that dates back to like the 18th and 19th centuries. So Bowie's not the first person, but to some extent, he's like one of the most popular people who like makes it acceptable, kind of. Because now, again, I didn't do a whole lot of research on this piece of it, but like when I looked into it a little bit, I saw a whole bunch of stuff in like the early 1900s and then a whole bunch of stuff in the 21st century, and nothing that bridges that gap from like 1920 to 2001. Except David Bowie comes in the 60s, and he's like so outspoken about how much he loves Japan that he mentions he wants to move to Kyoto. He mentions that he takes inspiration from the culture as part of like his personas and his stage shows and his makeup and his appearances. And Bowie had a big impact on a lot of people.
True. Very
and
true.
I think I hazard to say that Bowie like popularized it in pop culture.
Oh, I get what you're saying. It made it more of like a fad to be into that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. That's reasonably argued, in my opinion.
Yeah. So Zarbon, kind of like Bowie would have been big at this time because this was right around when Labyrinth happened.
Yeah.
So Bowie would be like big in, this is like, again, another instance of, he just reinvented himself once again. I don't know. Does Zarbon look a little, Zarbon I think looks a little bit like Bowie in Labyrinth, especially when you talk about like the hairs that keep like falling in front of his eyes that he used to keep moving out of his face to like fight and stuff. So there's that resemblance there, I think.
I could see that. I think there's also a little bit of, like I'd mentioned earlier, a little bit of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of going on with him.
Mm-hmm. He is he's the first character that Akira Toriyama created who can change at will and retain their personality and do it for a power boost.
You're right, yeah.
Because remember, Vegeta, even though he does retain his personality, he can't do it at will. He needs the
full moon, yeah.
The Brutes waves.
The Brutes waves.
So yes, Zarbon's the first character that Toriyama writes who transforms for a power boost at will and retains his personality while doing it. As long as you don't count, and I don't think I do, like Roshi bulking up.
I mean, it is similar to what Zarbon does.
Zarbon looks pretty different, though.
Well, I mean,
Roshi
that's true. Like, his nose disappears, for one.
Roshi just hulks out.
He goes full Krillin.
Yeah, Zarbon goes from looking like a dude to looking like a reptile?
Yeah, I was thinking like that, or like some kind of like lizard or something, but without a tail.
There's a reptilian aspect to it, whether it's snake-like.
Oh, is he the type of alien that the conspiracy theorists always talk about, the lizard people? You think maybe that's what it is? That's why we can't recognize them, because they look like normal humans, and then they lizard out in secret.
I'll make a promise at this point. I'll do a little bit of research while we still have Zarbon for a few more episodes.
Just throw in something if you find it.
And see if there's like anything. Well, we've already talked about snakes in Japan when we did like Snake Way. I'll look into if there's anything to do with alligators or something. I'll look into it briefly.
I would assume there's got to be something.
Because there's something reptilian about his appearance. You know what it almost looks like, if you ask me? Let me make sure I can get the name of it correct. Hang on.
All right, while you're looking that up, I do have a thought. Given how he puts Vegeta in a position to drown, I wonder if maybe there's a connection to Kappa.
Okay.
And this is just me spitballing, so
Now,
I have nothing to back that up.
I know that Kappa like to steal children's souls from inside their butts, so
Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm way off.
we talked about we talked about Kappa before? I can't remember what episode that was.
Yeah, I can't either.
And how they like to steal your soul from your butt.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
so this is an interesting parallel. Like, okay, we're talking about Zarbon, we're talking about how he looks transformed.
yeah.
You had just mentioned, or we like basically live essentially looked into punk culture in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Zarbon reminds me, his transformed state reminds me of the punk frogs from TMNT.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know which ones you're talking about.
And that's what they're actually called. They are called the punk frogs.
That's pretty funny. That's got to be a coincidence though, because I think the punk frogs weren't until like the 90s.
87.
Oh wow. Okay, so maybe it is possible. Oh, that's interesting.
If you're a person who believes in like simulation theory, that is,
that's a weird coincidence.
yes. That we were just talking about punks, and then I'm like, oh, he looks just like the frogs from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they are actually called the punk frogs.
Maybe there's I'm pretty sure came after Dragon Ball, but I was also thinking like Battletoads.
Ooh, let's look that up. Battletoads.
Which is also funny because Battletoads became a meme on, I think, 4chan, where people would like crank call video game stores, like GameSpot, and ask if they had a copy of Battletoads available.
Why?
Just for laughs, I guess. I don't know. Why does anybody do anything?
On the internet, especially.
Yeah.
Battletoads 91.
Okay.
So, what the manga is at what point right now? I think they are more coincidentally existent than.
Yeah, I don't expect any kind of like actual link between the two things. I just think it was a weird coincidence.
What a hard video game.
Oh God, you're not kidding.
I don't think I ever beat it without cheating in some way.
I don't think I ever got past the first level on my own.
Oh, come on. You gotta get to the
No, I take that back. It wasn't the first level. It was the where you're riding like the hover bike or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That level's impossible.
Yes. I've watched YouTube videos of people doing that level, and I'm like, and they're like, it's really not that hard. And I'm like, okay, because it's over now. And then it goes on for like another 5 minutes, and you're like, no, like that is that hard.
Yeah.
That part goes on way longer than it should.
Yeah. Just like the filler in these episodes. Hey-oh!
I think Battletoads is harder than the Ninja Turtles game, the one with the dam.
With the,
Yeah. With the bombs underwater.
Oh, I can clear that up, that level, no problem.
Yeah.
That one doesn't bother me.
Not as much as the Battletoads.
But there are definitely some levels in that Ninja Turtles game that just are... I hate them. They're horrible. But yes, Ninja Turtles also another game that I never beat.
I beat it once.
Oh, look at you.
And then I beat it many more times with a Game Genie, but I beat it once.
You got to do it once without the Game Genie just to be able to have the bragging rights.
But yes, Zarbon and Dodoria. It's funny, Dodoria is a character that I think a lot of people have... I don't know, but like, if you say those names, people actually know who you're talking about, and yet Dodoria is in, what, 8 episodes?
Is he? I don't think he's an 8. Am I wrong?
He was killed off in our last batch of 5 episodes, and
he also showed up in our last batch of 5, didn't he?
I think he might have showed up slightly before that.
Oh yeah, I think like one episode before, where
So he's in, like-
the first time we see Frieza, I think is also the same time we first time see Dodoria and Zarbon, if I remember.
So he's
right.
in like 6 or 7 episodes at most.
Yeah. And people remember who he is. So
Yeah.
Don't tell me it was a bad design, because clearly it stuck with people.
Yeah. They are 2 characters, especially Dodoria, I think, who are so well designed that they kind of stick in your memory despite being relatively short-lived.
Yeah, and on top of that, like they both get one-on-ones with Vegeta, which I think sticks with a lot of people too.
Yeah. I think Zarbon has the more memorable personality and persona because of that Jekyll and Hyde type of situation, and being so suave and
then so monstrous in an instant.
And whereas Dodoria is just monstrous the whole time, but his design just screams at you.
Yeah.
So I like those characters for the most part. For they do exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, they're excellent jobbers.
Yes. They're really good. Zarbon, I think, hits more that like mid-card level, because he's able to occasionally win.
He does rack up a couple wins. You're right. Huh. There's yet another wrestling reference as well. I think if we just do every episode, you know what we haven't done is a Godzilla reference.
Ooh, big and pink. I don't know any big pink monsters.
I also do not know any big pink monsters.
That's like a that's what she said type of level of humor.
Yeah, no, I thought about going there, and then I remembered that this is not necessarily an adult podcast, so
we try to keep it PG-13 at like most, so
yeah.
No, I can't come up with any.
Oh wow, our first episode
Godzilla
without a Godzilla reference. Oh no, wait, last episode you forgot one too.
We go here and there. You know, they gotta come up organically.
No, I agree.
No, I got nothing.
That's okay.
Next time. And then we won't do it. We're just gonna be like, what's
now? I think we should see how many episodes we can go without a Godzilla reference, just to see if anybody notices.
What's the actor in Iron Man who said "next time, baby" and then he was gone?
Oh God, he's one of my favorite people to point at and laugh.
Terrence Howard.
Yes, Terrence Howard. Thank you very much.
We're just the Terrence Howard podcast now.
Yeah.
Next time, baby.
Listen, man. 1 × 1 = 2. Okay? That's just how it works.
How we doing?
Well, you pulled me away from my home many years ago, put me at the forefront of a podcast talking about Dragon Ball, constantly put me in harm's way. You forced me into situations utilizing a technique that literally saps the life force of my people. You haven't allowed me to check in or revisit my homeworld, subject me to unceasing ridicule, utilize none of my talents, apparently don't pay me, are almost never upfront or transparent with me. You have me in the vastness of uncharted space chasing 2 very powerful beings, and make me do these bumper segments that feel increasingly lazy, so not so good.
I'm sorry, what about the chase on those 2 beings?
That is one of the things I complained about, yes.
I was barely listening as you were droning on and on.
But you asked how I was doing.
No, I asked how we doing. I wanted to know how the chase for our targets was going.
How do I get out of this?
Death or the end of the podcast, whichever comes first.
I find myself increasingly praying for death.
Look, can you just let me know how we're doing? Do we need to adjust course, speed, arm weapon systems, anything?
Well, I think if you keep your eyes peeled out the front bay windows, you'll have your answer shortly.
What will I see if I keep my eyes peeled out the front windows? Find out next time and help us achieve our final forum.
Final Form is written and produced by Tom Gwelly. It is performed by Dan Kinney and Tom Gwelly. Our webmaster is Dan Kinney. Our theme music is provided by YouTube content creator GVG Kid. Want to learn more about the Dragon Ball universe, including concept art, behind-the-scenes interviews, and recommendations from Jelli and Bekinney? Connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Final Forum Pod. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you receive your podcasts. And of course, make sure to share it with your friends and family and help us spread the word of the glory of Lord Frieza. The Frieza Force thanks you for your listenership.